Welcome everyone, I'm Michelle Schumann. I'm the Artistic Director of the Austin Chamber Music Center. We have the festival coming our way very soon, and I'm here with Ivan Trevino. He is the percussionist with Break of Reality, and we're here in his studio, in his Austin studio. I think when I heard you guys, you weren't maybe even yet living in Austin, or just must have been
No,
around the
that's
same
right.
time.
Me and my wife moved here about 10 months ago. She is originally from Austin, and I'm originally from Texas. So
She went to McCallum High School.
Yeah, that's right.
And tell us about how you guys met then.
Yeah, we met at music school at Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York. And like I said, we're both from Texas, and I think we've always wanted to come back home and live here.
Texas has that allure, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And we're happy to be here. So when I'm not on the road traveling, I make Austin my own.
Yeah, that's great. So how great to sort of have it be kind of homegrown, and yet you guys have a career that is keeping you very busy doing many gigs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We just got back from Central Asia. We were music ambassadors for the State Department. So we were there for a whole month playing music for people who don't really get to experience American music ever.
Right.
So yeah, our band, we're really lucky that it's taken us many different places, and we're really happy to be playing in Austin, and this will be our 4th show.
Yeah, great. So tell me about how the band kind of came to be, because it's a really unique animal, right? It's its own thing. Oh, we're going to have a little cameo appearance for your dog Sadie.
Right.
You probably can't see her, but you can hear her. You can pick her up and show her
Well,
when she comes back. Yeah, so yeah, tell me how the band came about and what you guys were interested in doing.
Well, the band started now 11 years ago at Eastman, and it was really just we have interests outside of classical music, especially me and one of the other founding members, Patrick Laird.
And so many, I think, young classical players do have interests outside of classical music anymore.
Absolutely.
So it's not like we focus at age 5 and then just stay there, but we're all involved with pop music or rock music and have those influences.
I think you're totally right. And at the same time, if you go to a music conservatory, you do focus on classical music a lot.
Yeah.
So for us, starting this band and playing kind of classical crossover, indie classical, whatever you want to call it, was really just kind of a break from all of the classical things going on in music school. And that's kind of how it started. It was just a side project. It was just for fun. Our first show was for like 5 people at a coffee shop. And we just started playing more and more, and each concert we played, we started noticing our audiences getting a little bit bigger, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. But it's been a very kind of long path. 11 years is a long time.
Yeah, but slow and steady wins the race.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And what about repertoire? How did you decide? Like, were you just jamming in the beginning? How did you find your music?
That's a great question. Well, one of our cellists had arranged some rock tunes for the band by groups like Metallica, and then he also composed music. So that's kind of how it started. And now I think probably 75% of what we do are original compositions. We really try to compose and have our own voice.
Yeah. You must have felt over the years the yearning to do more and more of that rather than
absolutely.
covers, right?
And I think like if you look at rock bands, they write a lot of their own music.
Yeah. Well, they start out usually doing covers. So like if you're in the rock band in high school, you have your favorite band and you're like, let's play this music.
There's
a
progression,
right? Right.
And same for us, and that's one of the things that we try to adapt or adopt from rock bands is playing your own music, being your own songwriter, not playing with music stands. We memorize all our music. Sometimes we improvise and jam out, like you said, and that'll be something that we'll do every concert. And including the Austin one, we improvise a tune, and it's always different, and we never know really if
do you start out with a tune, like it's a tune that you start out with, or you just kind of start from like...
start from nothing, and we don't even know who's going to start it. A lot of the times one of our cellists, Patrick, will start it, but sometimes I'll jump in, or sometimes somebody else will. It's fun.
It is. I bet it's really fun. I'm classical pianist, and I always was sort of raised that you either do one or the other. You either read or you improvise.
Mm-hmm.
And I started improvising when I was probably 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And there was and the only thing that I did when I started was like I made my parameter to have no parameters. Like start anywhere, start by doing anything and just see where it goes.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that when you take that risk, and especially I bet on stage in front of people with a group, with all of you guys doing it, like someone's gonna start, we don't know who, and then it's just this incredibly collaborative idea of listening to each other and responding and knowing and feeling even the audience and feeling when to take the lead and
I think when we do that, a lot of the times the feedback from the audience, like after a show, we love your originals, we love the Game of Thrones cover, but I think we enjoyed that improvisation the best because it won't ever happen again. It was just for that audience.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, that's great. What a risk to take.
Totally.
What I like
sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's like, oh, that was dicey, but it's fun.
But in Austin, it's gonna be great. We know that for sure. Right?
Absolutely.
You mentioned Game of Thrones, so you guys did this cover, and then you put it out on YouTube, and it just like took off in a crazy way.
Absolutely.
What was that experience like?
It was crazy. I remember putting it up, and maybe like a week later, it was on Huffington Post, and it was on, I don't know, like...
And you just put it up, you didn't have any expectations that it would do anything different than any of your other...
I mean, honestly, I love the show, me and my wife watch it, and she said, you should cover this song, and I kind of debated it for a long time, and we finally did, and I'm so glad that we did. I mean, I think it's close to like 7 million views on YouTube. And
I think it's even over 7 million.
That's crazy. Yeah. And like actors from the show were retweeting it, and like it was crazy. So that was a big kind of moment for us. You know, along our journey, there's been these little moments that kind of help us on our way.
Well, what's interesting about that too is that you didn't do it for the purpose of, okay, here's a great marketing idea.
Right.
Right. You're like, we're gonna do this. This is cool, and you put it out, and with not really with an expectation. I mean, you must have thought, people love this is a cult show. People love this. It'll probably have some appeal. But who would ever know that would actually...
You know, I think you're right. And also, I think a lot of times with these videos that tend to do well, I think a lot of it has to do with how it fits your ensemble. Like that tune fits our band really well.
Right.
And it was really kind of a natural thing for us to arrange and have it sound the way we wanted to sound. The two just blended really well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's great. How do you go about writing music? Is there one leader? Is it collaborations?
It always changes. I think the easiest way is to have one person kind of work on a piece and kind of, I don't know, really kind of have a good skeleton or a good body for the piece and then present it to the group, and maybe we make some changes. But that seems to be the easiest way. Although we have co-written some stuff as well, and some of those pieces are really special. Those do take longer though.
Right.
Because
more cooks.
Exactly. So yeah, it changes. I would say probably like 70 or 80%, maybe 70% of our tunes have been written by just one person, and the other 30% have been more collaborative kind of works. Yeah.
And how do you decide when you're going to write new music? Or are people always right? First of all, does everyone? So just to remind everyone, so there's 3 cellists and percussion. Everyone writes in the group. Everyone has.
There's really 2 central composers. It's myself and Patrick Laird. And Patrick actually does even more writing than I do for the band. And the other people are, you know, obviously welcome to compose, but I think they enjoy. I think they enjoy being performers, and you know, I think composing is like, I think it's something everybody should do. But you know, I think they're happy just playing and kind of giving us free rein to write.
And sometimes it's just a time in one's life when you're kind of ready to compose, and when you're just like maybe when you're playing and you're just kind of absorbing your influences and everything. And sometimes it just takes that first thing to be like, you know what, I'm gonna write something, and then because you don't know what your voice is until you again take the risk to actually experiment with it.
And like I have a rock background. Like I used to play
Uh-huh.
in a rock band in high school.
Guitar.
So songwriting, yeah.
I have to say aside here, I think it's hilarious the way in every field, if you talk to someone, if they talk about an instrument, they always do this. If they're like, it's like, so I was playing guitar, and I'm always like, so I was playing a little piano. And I was like, so I was like, it's just hilarious. Always just notice
Right,
that.
you're totally right.
It's like, I was playing.
So I used to songwrite a lot in high school. So composing and songwriting was just something that I always kind of just did. And same with Patrick too. So I think it comes easier to us because we've just been doing it for a long time.
Right. Was there ever a, so you went to Eastman to study classical. We're right here in front of a monster marimba. When we're done, I'll take the camera around so you can see this huge thing. Was there ever a conflict to you about whether you would just focus solely on classical? Like what? It's funny when we start school, especially on the undergraduate level. We usually have an idea of how we want it to play out professionally.
Sure.
And we're always so wrong. I know I was so wrong. And in fact, the idea that I had for myself as a professional musician, it was impaled than what it's actually become in terms of opportunities and just different eclectic kind of things. Well, what about for you? Where did you think it was going to go?
You know, I honestly thought that I would be like a teacher, a public school teacher. I was really fortunate in Victoria, Texas, to have a really great percussion teacher who went to Eastman. His name's Philip Makula, and he was awesome. And I always felt like I'm going to do what he does.
And Victoria actually has a great tradition because Jerry Junkin
is
from Victoria
exactly.
too, like one of the greatest
The
wind ensemble.
Yeah, you're exactly
of the
right.
world. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny going to Eastman. Wind ensemble, I was really surrounded by that, and Jerry has such a big name, and there's other guys like Donald Hunsberger and Fred Fennell, but anyway, what were we talking about again?
You were thinking you'd be in public school.
Oh yeah.
Teaching.
And I almost took a job right out of Eastman to go back to Victoria to teach, and I had a decision. It's like, should I go, or the band started doing more stuff, like what should I do? The teaching is definitely a steadier kind of paycheck right now at that point, and that was a big decision for me. But I feel like I've always had a chamber music kind of passion, and I've always loved composing, and the band just been such a great outlet for me to do those things and to teach at the same time. You know, like we do a lot of public school work, so I'm still able to facilitate, my desire for teaching. But yeah, when I was in school, I didn't know. I had no idea, but I thought teaching was probably a good kind of safe thing for me to do.
Students often come up to me when they're in high school because we have our great academy, chamber music academy program here in Austin, and also we teach chamber music in the schools at McCallum and various other high schools and middle schools. And I often get questions from students about that idea of like the uncertainty of music and should they go into music and that sort of thing. And I always say it's just not your job to know where you're going to end up. Your job is to work your butt off and say yes to as many opportunities as possible.
Absolutely.
And meet people and collaborate and enjoy that creative process, because where you end up, it's just out of your control.
Right.
But what is in your control is like the hours that you log in.
I totally agree. And also with music, like, at least for me, I'm not sure, like, I'm not good at other stuff. so I feel like...
I doubt that.
Well, I don't
say
know.
That,
you should ask my wife. She does a lot of stuff around the house. But I think that's always been where I've been drawn to, and I'm not really sure what else I would do. So I'm really fortunate to be able to make it a career. But you're totally right. A lot of hard work and a lot of like decision making, and not necessarily better or worse, but
they take you in different directions that you don't know.
And I'm just fortunate, to be on the path that I'm on.
Yeah, and you are still very passionate about education. You wrote was it a blog that you were telling me about?
Oh yeah,
about curriculum.
I did about a year or so ago. I wrote a blog post called "My Pretend Music School," and it was basically like my ideal fantasy world, what a college education might look like for a musician. because you know, in a lot of conservatories, the curriculum that we're studying, that I studied, for example, is really almost identical to what it's been for a really long time.
Sure. Yeah.
And a lot of things have changed in the music world.
Yeah.
So I just talked about, you know, having other skills outside of maybe just reading music really well and playing music really well, like having a strong understanding of music business or entrepreneurship is really important. I talked a lot about improvising because I feel like that's really important, and composing. The list
having
went
that
on and on.
sense of like that there's a direct link from whatever you hear to whatever you can achieve on your instrument.
Absolutely.
And I mean, obviously, like knowing how to read music and being able to realize a score from the past, Beethoven, Bach, it is a great thing.
Yeah.
But this idea of like, I have an idea in my head, and just being able to channel that through your hands or your mouth or whatever.
I think you're totally right.
Core,
And like I think also from a financial standpoint, like having as many skills as you can to help supplement an income as a musician, I think is really important. So it was just interesting, and it caused like this whole stir within the music community.
Always causing a stir.
But it was great. I felt like it got people talking about it, and you know, I think the curriculums are slowly changing, but it would be great to see it happen on a faster scale.
And I think the curriculums are changing too, because the people who are becoming more and more successful in music, they're taking that model, so they're creating this new model of maybe they didn't learn it in school how to become an entrepreneur, but they've realized that that's what they need to do to be financially sustainable, but also to have an enjoyable life in music. Because it hasn't always been the most enjoyable thing for musicians to get their peach of an orchestral gig and then stay there for 4 years. And
it
hasn't always been the most rewarding thing, even though you would think it would be in a way. So having this idea that we can keep on creating always, whether it's through a band, whether it's through composing, whether it's just trying something out. I'm about to talk this evening with Ida Kavafian, violinist, who's going to be playing a recital with Peter Serkin. And one thing I noticed in her bio is that she's unusual, because for that generation it was usually like focus on one thing. So if you're going to be a concertmaster, you're a concertmaster, or if you're going to be the first violin in a quartet, you're going to get that quartet and really do that. And she has also been very eclectic, been in a ton of chamber music groups, and she started up 2 chamber music festivals, and she teaches at Curtis, and I think that not only is it, you know, just more sustainable, but it's just fun. It just keeps things
totally agree. I mean, orchestra is awesome, and I did my fair share of subbing in orchestras, and that's fun. But I also like to play music that I program. I like to have some decision in my musical experience too. You know, I think that's important. So yeah, you're totally right. And plus, you have to be able to do a lot of things. You know.
If you want to have a life, an enjoyable life.
Right.
Well, we can't wait to have the band.
We're excited.
An unusual setup with 3 cellos and percussion, and I just think you guys are really terrific. You don't have to do this, but I'm seeing this instrument here, and I'm seeing you here. Do you want to play anything?
Sure.
Okay. I will pick up the camera, and let's just have a look at what we're dealing with here. So we've got this marimba here, 5-octave marimba, right?
Yeah, you got it.
So I like to call it a monster marimba, because it's huge, because you can see these like humongous little, what do you call those things that come out
the resonators?
The resonators, and so they have to curve around in order to be...
Well, especially on the low end, because these sounds are pretty beefy.
Lovely. Yes, please.
Okay. Here's a tune that I wrote, actually. It's called Anthem. I'll just play the intro.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks,
Yeah,
Ivan.
you're
So I'm
welcome.
noticing this poster there. So Break for Reality on July 10th. We can't wait to see you all out there. I will
Thank
sign
you.
off.
I think it's July
Thank you.
9th, right?
July 9th. It's
Awesome.
Thursday. July 9th. Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Ivan. You should know too. I should know too. All right. We'll see you all there. Thanks, Ivan.
Yeah, you're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Bye.